Have you ever wondered why putting yourself first feels so wrong, even when everything inside you says it's right? What if choosing yourself isn't selfish, but sacred? In a world that rewards compliance, self-prioritization becomes a quiet rebellion. Type "I choose myself" in the comments if you're ready to reclaim your life. There comes a time when you realize your life doesn't belong to others. It belongs to you. That moment isn't always peaceful. Often it arrives during a breakdown, when you've exhausted yourself, trying to meet everyone else's expectations. Suddenly, the mask you've worn begins to crack, and you're forced to ask, who am I beneath it all? Choosing yourself isn't an ego-driven act. It's the beginning of your true psychological awakening. It means you've finally realized that no external validation can replace the power of your inner truth. But be warned, this decision shakes the ground beneath you. People who were once close may begin to act distant. They'll say you've changed, and they're right. You're no longer serving a role. They were just comfortable with your submission. Carl Jung called this moment the beginning of individuation, the process of becoming whole by shedding what's false. And as you begin peeling away the layers of your social mask, you meet a stranger beneath it, your true self. In the beginning, it might feel like you're doing something wrong. Years of programming whisper, you're being selfish. You're going too far. But why is honoring your needs called rebellion? The answer is simple. People benefited from your silence. When you choose yourself, you disrupt the roles they assigned you. You're no longer the always available friend, the obedient partner, or the self-sacrificing child. The world isn't used to seeing you as whole. It's used to seeing you as useful. That's where the discomfort begins. The minute you start drawing boundaries, others push back. They don't miss who you are. They miss the version of you that never said no. But this isn't your burden. This is the price of growth. The decision to choose yourself forces you to confront a harsh truth. Some relationships were built on who you pretended to be. And as you become more real, the illusion dies. To understand why this feels so hard, we must go back to where it all began. Childhood. From a young age, we are taught that love is earned through obedience. Be good, don't question. Make everyone happy. As we grow, we become experts at pleasing others, even if it means betraying ourselves. This conditioning creates our persona, a concept Jung described as the mask we wear to survive the world. It's not inherently wrong. It helps us navigate life. But when the mask becomes our identity, we forget who we are without it. We become trapped in roles we didn't choose. The dependable employee, the patient spouse, the friend who always listens. We confuse these performances with who we are. The tragedy: the more we give, the more people expect, and the more we abandon ourselves, the less we are truly seen. Real value fades when you're seen as endlessly available. In truth, those who erase themselves to fit in are rarely appreciated. They are expected, not celebrated. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche warned us about this. He said, society doesn't want authentic people. It wants predictable ones. Children aren't raised to be themselves. They're raised to conform, and over time, we begin to believe that the only way to be safe is to be accepted, even if it means shrinking who we are. But no one can sustain that forever. Eventually, the cracks show. You feel lost, anxious, exhausted, and you don't know why. And then the wake-up call arrives. For some, it's a collapse. For others, it's a quiet ache that won't go away. Suddenly, the life you built feels hollow. The smiles feel fake. The commitments weigh you down. But instead of changing, you tell yourself, "It's fine. I'm just tired. I should be grateful." These lies come from the part of you afraid to let go. But deep down, the truth is waiting. And once seen, it cannot be unseen. Then comes guilt, the greatest manipulator of all. You say no for the first time and feel awful. You cancel plans to rest and call yourself selfish. That guilt isn't real. it's inherited. Jung said that much of our psyche is formed by unconscious ideas passed down from culture. We are taught that we only matter when we serve, so when we stop serving, we feel unworthy. But the truth is, your worth was never meant to be measured by how much of yourself you sacrifice. And this is where your shadow appears. Jung's shadow is the part of you that holds everything you suppressed, your rage, your desires, your truth. When you begin to wake up, the shadow rises. It will challenge you. You will doubt yourself. You may even grieve the life you're leaving behind, but the only way forward is through. Numbing the pain only delays the growth. To transform, you must face what you once feared. Once you start facing your shadow, you enter a new phase, the solitude of awakening. And this isn't the kind of solitude that comes from being physically alone. It's deeper. It's the quiet after you've stopped pretending, the silence after you've stopped performing, the space where your old identity begins to dissolve. For many, it feels like loneliness, but Carl Jung saw this solitude as sacred. It's the beginning of becoming who you truly are. At first, it's disorienting. You no longer fit in with your old crowd, but you haven't yet found your new tribe. What used to entertain you now feels empty. What once fulfilled you now drains you. In this in-between space, it's easy to doubt the path. You may feel the urge to go back, to play the role again, just to feel loved. But remember, going back means abandoning yourself. And this time, you know too much to pretend it's okay. Society has taught us that solitude is failure, that being alone means something's wrong. From childhood, we're conditioned to seek constant company. So when you choose to spend time with yourself, others might worry. But solitude isn't isolation. It's not rejection. It's the pause required to reintroduce yourself to you. It's where wounds resurface, not to break you, but to heal. It's the space where you remember your desires, not the ones handed to you, but the ones that come from your core. In solitude, masks fall off. The distractions are gone. You're left with your thoughts, your emotions, your truth. It's uncomfortable because it's real. But this discomfort is necessary. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre once said that man is condemned to be free. That once we're aware of our power, we are responsible for everything we do. Most people avoid that responsibility. They'd rather follow a script, but not you, not anymore. As you peel back more layers, something powerful happens. Detachment. You start to see which relationships were rooted in authenticity and which were held together by your performance. You stop needing validation. You stop seeking applause, and you begin to crave something more meaningful. Genuine connection. But here's the painful truth. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some people will distance themselves. Others will guilt you, and the hardest ones are those who quietly resent you but never say a word. You'll hear things like, "You've changed. You're selfish now," or "You're too different." But these aren't criticisms. They're confessions. What they're really saying is, "I preferred the version of you that didn't challenge me." Your growth threatens their comfort, and deep down, they're afraid that if you're right, they've been living a lie. So they try to pull you back, not out of malice, but out of fear. The most dangerous reaction isn't the loud criticism, it's the subtle emotional distance. A cold tone. Fewer messages. Less eye contact. These are signs that your awakening has created discomfort in others. You've become a mirror reflecting what they haven't faced in themselves. But don't shrink to make them comfortable. Don't dim your light so others don't feel the glare. The people meant to walk with you won't ask you to become small. Not everyone is meant to stay, and that's okay. Some connections were built on a version of you that no longer exists. The mistake is trying to explain yourself, to win them back, to soften your truth for their comfort. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to keep becoming who you are. The ones who truly love you will stay, Not because you're easy to understand, but because they respect your evolution. Carl Jung once said, "Loneliness does not come from being alone, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important." That's the real test. Can you stay true to yourself, even when no one claps for you? Even when no one understands? Would you rather betray yourself to belong or stand alone in your authenticity? Because in that moment, the question isn't about them. It's about you. As time passes, the noise settles. Some people leave for good. Others return. But the energy is different. What you gain in return is priceless. Relationships that are real. Conversations that nourish you. A sense of peace that can't be taken away. You no longer chase love, you embody it. You no longer beg for approval. You approve of yourself. And in that space, life begins to rearrange. Awakening doesn't mean cutting everyone off or living in isolation. It means living in alignment. It means no longer outsourcing your identity, your joy, your peace. It means you've become the source, not the reflection. And that is power. So how do you live this new version of yourself without becoming disconnected from the world? You learn the art of balance. Choosing yourself isn't about rejecting others. It's about including yourself. It's not about living against the world, but living in it without losing yourself. And when that balance clicks, your life begins to flow with clarity. Because in the end, the true measure of choosing yourself isn't in how loudly you proclaim it. It's in the quiet confidence you carry, in the boundaries you hold, in the love you give, without losing your center, and most importantly, in the peace you feel when you look in the mirror and finally recognize the person staring back. You've come this far, not to go back, but to go deeper. Stay the course. The world may not understand, but your soul always will. If this message spoke to something deep within you, drop the words "I choose myself" in the comments to affirm your path. And if you're ready for more insights like this, don't forget to follow, like, and share this video with someone who needs it. Your awakening begins with one choice. Make it yours.